the sketches. In case you're new here, I am an artist at Disney TV Animation. I'm a background painter on Tangled the series. Today I'm going to be going over my most frequently asked questions that I get constantly on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah. So let's get into it. Did you go to art school? No, I didn't go to art school. I'm self-taught. You don't have to go to art school to work in animation. Where did you go to school? I am from Virginia and I went to the University of Virginia. That was my dream school. I majored in studio art and French. However, their art program is super traditional. They didn't have any illustration or animation classes, so I had to work on digital art all outside of classes. How did you learn all this without going to art school? Research, practice, determination, trial and error, and using all of my time and energy outside of classes to learn digital painting. Did you do an internship? No, I did not do an internship. By the time I realized I wanted to work in animation, I had already graduated college, so I was never eligible to apply to internships. You don't have to do an internship to work in animation. Where did you work before animation? Before working in animation, I was pretty much in school, but right after I graduated college, I moved to France and I taught English at a French high school. I applied to animation studios from France. Before France, I was in college and I worked at Urban Outfitters. Yeah. Did you have any connections in animation? No, I did not have any connections out here. You don't need connections to work in animation. Some people think that people get jobs in animation from having connections. Knowing someone in the industry will help your work get seen, but even if you have connections, the most important thing is to have an amazing portfolio. How did you get a job at Disney? I was an artist at Nickelodeon when Disney reached out to me and offered me the job. People on the Tangled series crew found my art on Tumblr and they were looking for a background painter with a similar painting style to mine, so they hired me. I explained my entire art journey in another video. I will link that down below. How long have you been working at Disney? I've been working at Disney for 3.5 years. Do you take requests? I don't do artwork for free. You can always make suggestions, but I'm always just gonna draw what I want to draw. Will you draw me? No. Do you do commissions? I've actually never done personal commissions. I've only done commissions for friends before. Sorry. What program do you use? Photoshop. I've used several versions of Photoshop. Right now I'm using Photoshop CC. What tablet do you use? I use a Cintiq 22 HD. I do not recommend buying yourself a Cintiq if you're a beginner. I didn't even touch a Cintiq until my first day at Nickelodeon when I was hired as an artist. I made a whole video talking about all the tablets and programs that I've ever used, so I will link that down below. Recently, I've also been using my iPad Pro. I use the app Procreate. What brushes do you use? My favorite brushes on Photoshop are the Stumpy Pencil Brush. I also love Shiun Kim's ink brush set, so my favorite from those are just the regular ink brush and the ink bristle brush. I also love Mike Yamada's brush set. My favorite brush from that is the dry brush. And a while back, Helen Chen put up her brush sets online. I use one of her brushes. It's like this smooth character brush. And I've been using Kyle T. Webster's brushes for a while now. Actually, Kyle Webster's brushes now come with Photoshop CC. So if you use Photoshop now, you have access to all these brushes for free. My favorite brushes were from his second brush set. They're called Gouache A Go-Go and Fat Fun Spongy. I went over all of these brushes and linked where you can get them in my digital art supplies video. The same one where I go over all the tablets and programs that I've ever used, so that is linked down below. As for Procreate, I just use the default brushes. I usually just use whatever the first pencil brush is. Yeah. Advice on drawing. If you're a beginner or just feeling stuck, I actually made a video advice for artists and I will link that video down below. If you've watched that video and you still feel like you need help, my biggest tip to you is just to stop asking for advice and to just start drawing. It's a lot easier to figure things out if you're actually drawing and practicing. Don't rely on other people to make you tutorials or tell you what to do. Don't use those as excuses to just not practice. You have to take some initiative here. If drawing really is your passion, then you should just do it, because drawing a lot is the way that you're going to improve. Portfolio tips. My biggest piece of advice for having a competitive portfolio is to look at your own artwork critically. Don't rely on other people to tell you what's not good in your portfolio. You should be able to tell that on your own. Instead, look at your own portfolio and ask yourself what you need to improve on and what your portfolio is missing. Compare your portfolio to a professional's and see if you're at the same level to compete with them for the same kind of jobs. If you're not, then ask yourself why and make yourself a list of things that you need to improve on in your portfolio to get to that level. I made a whole video with portfolio tips and I will link that down below. How do I get a job at Disney? Disney is my dream job and I have to work there or else. Not all the Disney questions are that aggressive, but some of them are. When I was growing up, I just knew that I wanted to be an artist. I didn't care where. I just wanted to draw and bring stories to life for a living, and I knew that would make me happy. And there are so many studios and video game companies out there doing that. It's cool if Disney is your eventual goal, because I'm sure Disney movies had an impact on your childhood, but it's also really cool to work on new stories at other studios. So my advice to you is to not limit yourself to one studio, because there's so many cool places you can work out here. Artist jobs in animation are extremely competitive, especially at a big name studio like Disney, so just try to be open. And those are my most frequently asked questions. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Bye!